So good morning. Now we have come towards the end of our third unit, which is related to traffic engineering, and whatever we are seeing in this, that is all very basic background or basic overview of what goes into traffic engineering. So today mainly we will be focusing on different traffic control devices. So for that, I'm just preparing 2-3 slides as the background for it. So till now, what we have seen is the parameters of traffic, then its interrelationship. Okay. Then we had seen the traffic studies in detail. So now we know that traffic is nothing but movement of your vehicles or pedestrians on road. Okay. So if we concentrate only on the movement of vehicles, so we can come up with basic traffic maneuvers, what are shown here, the 4 basic traffic maneuvers, that is diverging maneuver. Traffic maneuvers are nothing but if I assume that 2 vehicles are traveling from 2 different directions, so how will they cross each other, or what will be the interaction between them? So that you can say as a traffic maneuver, or not if 2 vehicles, even if a single vehicle, then to how it moves on the road. So that is covered in this traffic maneuver. So first is the diverging maneuver. So you can see the top figure on the right side. So both the types of maneuvers are shown, the left and the right. Okay, so diverging it is nothing but you are not actually taking a turn. It's not complete a 90-degree turn or a U-turn, but it's just a sort of branching kind of thing. Okay, so that is the diverging maneuver. Then similarly, you have a merging maneuver. Now, diverging and merging you will predominantly see in highways or expressways where you have controlled access. Controlled access as in anyone cannot enter the highway or the expressway at any location he or she desires, but there are specific locations only at which you can enter the highway. So the best example now, most of you have traveled in and around Pune. So I assuming that you have traveled on Mumbai-Pune expressway. So that is a controlled access controlled expressway, as in only at specific locations you can enter the expressway, and only at specific locations you can exit that expressway. So on that exit and entry, whatever is the maneuver of your vehicle, that is diverging and merging. Okay, so merging is whenever you are entering that access controlled expressway, that is merging, and whenever you are leaving it, so that's a diverging maneuver. Okay, crossing maneuver you will predominantly see in add grade intersections. So we'll come to that later, what is an add grade intersection, but for now just remember that crossing maneuver mainly it comes into picture when you have an add grade intersection and then 2 vehicles traveling in 2 different directions, they are supposed to cross each other's path. Okay, so that is a crossing maneuver. And then there is a slight advancement over the crossing maneuver, that is the 4th one, that is weaving maneuver. This also we'll see in next couple of slides when we see the rotary intersection. Okay, so there is a difference between crossing and weaving, as in crossing is nothing but, as you can see here in the picture, they cross not maybe at a perpendicular, or we'll assume that almost it's crossing at a perpendicular, and one of the vehicle has to stop, okay, in order for the another vehicle to cross. We'll assume that, or not even stop, so at least the driver has to reduce the speed significantly so that the other vehicle passes. In weaving maneuver, what happens is it is sort of a crossing maneuver, because you can see the paths are again crossing over here. But now in this case, instead of one vehicle stopping and the other moving, or one vehicle slowing down and the other going fast, what is done in weaving is the width of the road is controlled in such a way, and the radius is controlled in such a way that both the vehicles, they will reduce their speed a bit, or we are controlling, as a designer we are controlling their speeds, and then both the vehicles can move simultaneously and cross each other's path. Okay, so that is a weaving maneuver. Okay. So this we will see from example when I discuss the rotary intersection. So these are the 4 basic maneuvers, and for understanding the working of any interchange, okay, or any intersection, you need to understand what will be the movement of the vehicles over there. Okay? So that's why I have shown this slide. And something related to maneuvers. So as I told you, in crossing, if you concentrate on this, okay, so whenever 2 vehicles are going to cross each other at this 90-degree or maybe at some angle, so this is termed as a conflict point. Okay? Conflict point, as in that is the point where there is a chance that if neither of the vehicles slows down, so they are bound to go into an accident. Okay? So that is a conflict point. So like that, you have to calculate conflict points for a given intersection, add grade intersection, and then if it exceeds, not exceeds, so if it is having more conflicts, so it's better to reduce those conflicts. As in, if you say this example or in this table, I have given an example that you have 2 roads, okay, road A and B, and both the roads have 2 lanes. So I have taken this 4-leg intersection. So in a 4-leg intersection, you have 2 roads. This is the first road and this is the second road. Okay. So in this, now if I go on plotting the movements, okay, suppose both the roads are two-lane roads, okay, so that 2-way traffic is allowed on that road. So I'll just draw the center line so that it's clear to you. Okay, and now if I go on drawing the movement, so coming from this direction, my vehicle, it can take a turn to the left, it can go straight, or it can go right. Okay. Considering we are seeing the scenario of Indian traffic, so that's why left-hand drive. So similarly, if I go on plotting, the maneuvers for each road. So now as the space is limited, if I draw all the movements, so it will be a sort of congested thing and then I will not get to know what I'm trying to say. So I'll just draw these 2 movements. Okay, now wherever you see there is an intersection between the 2 lines, so those are nothing but the conflict points. Okay, so the more conflict points, more susceptible that intersection is to a accident if you are not providing any control devices as in you are not providing any signals or not providing any islands, channelizing islands. So in that case, this conflict points goes on increasing. Okay, so you can see here in a 2-lane road, when 2 roads are having 2 lanes and both roads are 2-way, so the conflict points are 24. But the moment we make one road as 1-way and another road as 2-way, the conflict points reduce drastically. And if we make both the roads 1-way, so the conflict points reduce even more. Okay. Similarly, I have given the scenarios if you have 2-lane, 4-lane, and a 4-lane combination. Okay. So what I want to show you is these values. See the decrease in the values. So what you can see here is when you have a one-way street, so the number of conflict points, they reduce drastically. Okay, and that's also one of the reasons that, and if you are staying in a metropolitan city or any city which is having a fairly congested traffic, so after some point of time they might have converted a couple of main streets in your city into a one-way, and the reason for that is when you make it a one-way, then the conflict points reduce and then the intersecting or the crossing maneuver gets reduced. And if the crossing maneuver is reduced, then automatically the delay is reduced, the speed increases, and then you get a free flowing, or even if not free flowing, but a fairly moving traffic. Okay. So always remember, for a traffic engineer, reducing these conflict points is a very tricky job, or can say a challenging one, because he or she has to reduce these conflict points without affecting the level of service of the road. So in order to reduce conflict points, it should not happen that you are making the driver to go ahead further 2 or 3 kilometers and then take the desired turn. So in that case also, the drivers will not follow this, and then there will be breaking of the rules. Okay. So this is related to conflict points. Now, as far as the traffic regulations is concerned, now you have always heard of these terms, rules and regulations. I hope, and I'm sure, not hope, I'm sure that everybody must have heard these two terms at some point of time in their life, that you should follow rules and regulations. So just before starting this traffic regulation, if I have to tell the difference between these two, so the difference is, rules is something that they are sort of a guidelines. Okay, there are guidelines so that all the things in that systems or in the particular system, they go on smoothly. Okay, so as far as the traffic is concerned, so there is something called traffic rules, which are more of a guidelines. Okay, so if you follow those guidelines, your traffic stream will be efficient enough. And regulation is something when these guidelines are abided, or you make a law behind it. Okay, suppose overspeeding, so you should not drive on a road. Suppose there is such statement that for a particular road, you should not exceed the speed of your vehicle above 80 km/h. So this is a rule. But when you stick a law to it, that if you do so, if you go above 80 km/h, then you will be fined 1,000 rupees. So that becomes a regulation. Okay? Or if you are drinking and driving, or you should not drink and drive, that's a rule. But if you drink and drive and you get caught, then you are liable to a judiciary action, or maybe 3 months jail or something like that. So in that case, what we have done is we have attached a law to a particular rule, and then that becomes a regulation. So this is the main difference between rule and regulation. Rules are specifically guidelines, which if followed, everything in the system goes on smoothly. But regulation is when you attach a law to that rule, okay, and then you enforce that law, then it becomes a regulation. So from our traffic point of view, you all know that there are traffic regulations. Now you know the difference between rules and regulations. So next time, just whenever you get a chance, go through the Motor Vehicle Act, which has been revised recently in couple of years. So in that, you'll get to know what are the rules and what are the actual regulations. Okay. So regulations, they can be divided into 4 different categories. So first is driver controls, that is such regulations which will control the behavior of the driver or the movement made by the driver. So that or those driver controls or traffic regulations related to driver controls, they include regulations such as the minimum requirement for issuing driving licenses, that you should be of this much age, you should pass that much that test. Okay, so all that thing. Then proper test for LCV and heavy motor vehicle, and then civil liability. So these are the regulations under traffic controls. Under vehicle controls, these are the regulations which are a mandate for your vehicle, and mainly it is vehicle registration, the requirements that it should be in a proper working condition, and the maximum dimensions and weight. Okay. So many of the times you see that there is a limit on what skeleton or a body we can mount over a chassis of a truck. Okay. If you have seen a new truck, a brand new truck, so it doesn't come with all that cage kind of thing. So a truck just comes with a engine, the main cabin, and then you have a empty space behind it, and over that you can mount your body of the truck. But that too, you have a limit. So that comes under this vehicle control traffic regulation. Then related to flow control, as in to control the movement of the vehicle on road, then you have regulations such as you have a direction regulation that you have to only follow one-way traffic or two-way traffic. Okay, right turn not allowed, then overtaking not allowed, and such kind of things. And also in flow regulations, you have this control of vehicle operation using regulatory and prohibitory signs. So in order to enforce all these things, then the signages are installed, and if you violate them, then you are subjected to a fine or any legal action. Okay. And then fourth category is general controls. Now these are related to like reporting an accident or disposing traffic violation cases and all this what I have mentioned here. Okay. So this Motor Vehicle Act, now here I have written the first version of it, but it has been recently amended, I guess in 2016 to 19, somewhere in that period. Okay. So if you get a time and if you are interested, you can just go through this Motor Vehicle Act, okay, and you'll get to know some more rules, or you might also be surprised to know that what are the rules and what are the actual regulations. Okay. So this is regarding traffic regulations. Now, coming to the main discussion for today is traffic control devices. Now we are saying that traffic, it includes vehicles and people and pedestrian, vehicle, passenger, drivers and pedestrian. So it's of a dynamic nature. We have seen in the traffic characteristics also that road user characteristics, we have a lot of road user characteristics like vision, hearing, reaction time, and environmental factor, mental factor, psychological factor, and all kind of branches we have seen. So if you have so much variation on any road, so how to control this traffic? Because it's not like if you come up with some regulations, everyone is going to follow it. Okay? And instead of making a regulation for each and everything, it's also very tedious, okay, to keep a track. Okay? Now, for each and every movement, if you go on applying a law, so it will be tedious from the enforcement point of view also, that the traffic police itself will get confused that what is the law for which violation. Okay. So for that, you need to do something in order to control this traffic without or with using the minimum regulations. So for that, we have this for our help, that is traffic control devices. Okay. Now, though the word is devices, when we will look into what goes into this, you will actually come to know that it's not actually a device or a mechanical working thing. It's not like that. Okay. But it is something more of a stationary kind of thing, but it acts as a guiding tool for the traffic to go in a particular way or move in a particular direction. So in traffic control devices, you have these four devices that are predominant: these signs, traffic signals, traffic markings, and traffic islands. Okay, so we'll see one by one in brief. So related to traffic signs, now I have mentioned an IRC code. So obviously I can't cover everything in one particular lecture because each of this traffic control devices has a different code for it. Okay. And each code is of hundreds and or at least 100 or 50 pages. So I can't cover everything. So that's why I have mentioned it here. So it's up to you. You can go into detail at your end. I'll just give you the short summary of it. So in traffic signs, you have mainly three types. One is the regulatory or mandatory signs. Second is the warning cautionary sign, and third is the informatory. So a regulatory is this. Now you know what a regulation is. Okay. So regulatory signs will be something which tells you about a law. Okay. So mainly they are the prohibitions and all kind of thing. So if you do not follow these signs, if you do not follow the regulatory signs, then you are bound to get a legal action upon you, or you will be subjected to some fine. Okay. So you need to know what is a regulatory sign at first. Okay. So we'll come to that later. Then B type, you have a warning sign or cautionary sign. Now this will not, or violating these signs, they will not give you a fine or any kind of action, but they are just for your information so that you don't end up with some accident. Okay. So it is just for the road users to warn about something. Okay. Maybe there is an ongoing activity on the road, or there is a height restriction. Okay. So those are something warning or cautionary sign. And then there is something called informatory signs. Now these signs have absolutely nothing to do with the regulation nor the warning, but they are just for information. Like Pune 50 kilometers, there is a tunnel 1,000 meters ahead, or there is a toll booth 1 kilometer ahead. So all these are informatory signs. Okay. So now we'll quickly have a look on it. So first is the mandatory sign. Now, as I told you, if you violate these mandatory signs or regulatory signs, then you are subjected or you are liable to a fine or a legal action. So how to actually make out, or how to identify that which sign is a mandatory sign or regulatory sign and which is the other two categories. So they have come up with, or in India, they have come up with a pretty very good straightforward way for the classification, that regulatory sign or mandatory signs, it will always be in circular in shape, always. Okay. It will always have a red border with a white background, and whatever they have to write inside it, that will be in black color. This is the standard one, because I told you that you have a IRC code for all these signs. So whenever any traffic facility is being constructed, so in the design aspect, you have some miscellaneous design, and in that, this signage design also comes into picture. Okay. So always they will follow this mandate, or rather they have to follow. If they don't, so it's wrong on the part of the authority who has built that road. Okay. So regulatory or mandatory signs always circular in shape, red border, white background, and black symbols. Okay. And as I told you, you can't violate this, or you should not violate this rather. And if you violate, then obviously you are subjected to some fine or legal action. So some of them I have listed here. Now these are not the complete list, or the figure on the right also. I have not shown all the signs because there are a lot of them. So just for educational purpose, or just for sake of going through all the signs, you can open that IRC code and then you can just have a look on all of them. No need to by heart them, or not to study from the point of view of any exam, but just for your information, that at least you should be aware while driving or even while walking, what are the signs that you should follow. So some of them are, I have listed here: stop and give way sign, prohibitory sign, no parking, no halting, speed limit. This is also one of the most neglected signs in India. Then restriction ends, compulsory direction control, as in you are compulsory direction control is one way or a left turn prohibited, that kind of thing. So on the right side, if you see the figures I have shown you, and now you can see something written over here. So they have also specified what should be the size, and even what should be the size of the font inside it. Okay. So everything is given in detail. You can just go through it for information purpose. Then comes the warning sign. Now the main difference between regulatory and warning, you can see it very drastically in the picture itself. So this is regulatory and this is warning. So the main difference is regulatory is circular in shape and warning is triangular in shape. Rest all things are same. Just the shape changes, that it's triangular in shape. Rest of the things like red border, white background, and black symbols, they remain the same. Okay. And as I told you, it's just caution or sort of a warning to the driver or the road user, like a major road ahead, or you have a left hand curve or a right hand curve, or you have a merging traffic ahead. So these are some warnings to the driver. Or in the hilly roads, you must have seen the sign that there is a S curve or there is a steep gradient ahead. So those are the warning signs. And then you have informatory signs. As I told you, they are just for the information. And some of them I told you that the direction and place identification sign, that left road will go to Pune, straight road will go to suppose Mumbai, and then something else. So like that kind of thing. Then other than that, you have these, that different facility information, like there is a hospital, there is a public telephone, there is a pedestrian subway. So these kind of signs come under informatory. And if you see the visual characteristics of this signs, so they are rectangular in shape. They are either green, blue, or white background. So this is the variation that they can have. And the symbol also, they can have white or black. So other than red, all the colors are used in this informatory sign. Okay. So these are the different traffic signs, and this is one of the traffic control devices. So looking at these signs, it is sort of understood that the road user, whether it's a pedestrian, whether it's a truck driver or two-wheeler driver, or even a cyclist, so that person will look at these signs, and then he or she will change the way if he or she is not traveling properly or not moving in the proper way on the road. So they will change their course accordingly. Okay, so that's why it's under traffic control devices. Now, as I told you, these are not actual devices, so you can also see them. So these are just stationary signs. Okay, so there is no working mechanism, mechanical devices or such kind of thing. But then to they are termed devices because they do the work of controlling the movement of your vehicle. Okay, and to some sort the behavior of your driver as well. Then the next traffic control device is the traffic signals. Now again, this you all must have seen. I'm very sure at some point of time you have seen what are traffic signals. But what I'm going to just show you is a short classification of these traffic signals. So one is traffic control signal. One is the pedestrian signal, which is exclusively for pedestrian. This also you must have seen on the crosswalks. Okay. And then you have a special traffic signal. Special traffic signal as in it's a specially designed traffic signal for suppose only a BRT lane or only a ambulance lane, or in some cases if you have gone through any military area. Okay, if now let's assume you all have traveled somewhere in the Pune city. So you know in Pune city you have 3 to 4 cantonment areas, that is military area. You have Dehu Road in PCMC, Khadki, then in Pune you have Pune cantonment. So when you go through these roads, at some points there are traffic signals which are not needed, but they are still installed because they are the special traffic signal. The best example I can give is the College of Military Engineering, CME, which you have in Dapodi, between Dapodi and Khadki. So there, it's not an intersection also. Next time, whenever you go, you just see to it, it's a straight road. Okay, and on the left hand side, if you are going from Mumbai or if you are going from Pimpri towards Pune, so on the left hand side, you get the main gate of CME, and it's a straight road. There is no right turn or nothing like that. But there is a gate of CME on left side. So that's why they have installed a traffic signal over there. And that is a special type that if suppose there is a higher authority vehicle or a person who from military having a higher post, so that person is traveling and then he is entering or leaving CME. So the signal will be controlled by someone sitting near the gate of CME, and then they will give way to that special or VIP vehicle. So that's a special traffic vehicle. These are very rare to be seen. You can see it at such location. One such traffic signal, another example I can give, is in Delhi, the CRRI. Now this you have heard the term in first unit, Central Road Research Institute, CRRI, which was one of the outcome of JICAR committee. So in New Delhi, you have headquarters of this CRRI, and there the same thing is there, that it's a main gate of CRRI and it's a straight road. But then too, they have a traffic signal over there only because the vehicles which are coming out of that institute or going into that institute, so they control the signal likewise. So that's the special traffic signal. Now coming to the our regular traffic signals that we see in everyday life, so they can be categorized in 3 types. One is the fixed time signal, in which whatever is the cycle of your red, amber, and green time, so it is fixed and it is repeated regularly. Okay, so there is no change. If it's a 60-second red, 2 seconds amber, and then 45 seconds green, so this will be the cycle which will be repeated throughout its life until and unless it is changed. Okay. Then you have manually operated signals. Now manually operated is, from the name itself you will see, so there is no fixed duration as such for any cycle, red cycle, green cycle, or amber cycle, but it is controlled by the person who is sitting over there. So sort of you can say that even if there is not a traffic signal and you have a traffic police at a particular intersection, so the traffic police also controls the movement of the vehicles without having a traffic signal for his help. Okay, so that is the way manually operated signal works. Okay. And then you have traffic actuated signals, which are a pretty sophisticated development in this traffic signals, that whatever is the cycle time, now whatever example I gave, that red, suppose it is 30 seconds, amber is 2 seconds, and green is 45 seconds. So this will hold true for a particular traffic scenario. But now let's say that at night time, you all know at night time the traffic in the city roads, it reduces drastically. So suppose there is a road, or many of the times you might have also wondered that the road is empty, but still there is a red color signal, or the red light is on and that signal is working, and you have to follow it by regulation. You don't follow it, that's another thing, but you have to follow it. But it doesn't make sense that the road is empty, there is no vehicle on it except your vehicle. So why to stop there? So your argument is correct, and there you can have such actuated traffic signals. So what these do is, cameras are installed with different perspectives, okay, so that different views are seen of all the roads and all the vehicles coming towards that intersection, and then sensors are installed so that the traffic or the movement of the vehicle is counted. Okay, so what we have seen in classified traffic volume count, I told you that there is one way, sophisticated way, in which you can count the vehicle is you can have a videography survey, and then you can feed that video to a software, and that software will just segregate that what is the type of vehicle or how many vehicles are traveling on that road. Okay, so same way you can use that over here, and it is interconnected, that whatever is the live feed of the video, it is fed to the software, it analyzes immediately, and then if it sees that there is no vehicle, so it will just give a green light to that road which is having, or where a single vehicle or 2-3 vehicles are approaching. Okay, so that is a traffic actuated signal. And this same signal, when it's a daytime, so again it will act accordingly, that whichever road is having more congestion in it or more queue of vehicle is seen, so there the green time is increased, and the another road where it might be a minor road and the number of vehicles are also less, so there the red time is increased a bit. Okay. So in that way the traffic is controlled, and that is traffic actuated signals. So in this a lot of coding goes in, because you have to write an algorithm that if this happens, so what should be the decision taken, if that happens, what should be the decision taken. Okay. So this is still picking some pace in India. It's not much seen everywhere. Okay. Wherever they had installed at a couple of locations in Pune also, near Nalstop, but that was on trial basis, and I don't know what happened to it, but now it's the metro construction going on over there, so the signals are not working anyway. Okay, so this is the discussion related to traffic signals. Then comes the next control device, that is road markings. Now again you have a special IRC code for it, as you had for the traffic signs. So in road markings you have 4 categories. The pavement markings, as in the ones which you can see on the pavement. So in this picture, whatever line I'm highlighting, so those are the road markings. Then you have curb markings as in whatever the median or footpath you have. So you can see, or you might have seen, it's colored in white and black or yellow and black, so that is the curve marking. So to demarcate that, okay, this is the curve. Now this might not seem important during daytime, but at night time it is very important, so that there is no mishap of any vehicle entering the footpath. Okay. Then the third type of road marking, it is object marking. Now again, this you can see in the figure, bottom left figure, this one which I am highlighting. So wherever you have an underpass, so there is a height restriction. So you can see such kind of paints or painting done over there in yellow and black stripes. So those are the object markings, that there is some object and you have to warn the driver that, okay, you don't have to go into this object, you have to accordingly adjust your direction. So that is the object marking. And the last one is reflector unit marking. Now from the name itself, you can guess that these are very much useful during the nighttime driving. Yeah. So they will help you to demarcate some obstructions or some median, suppose, or some curve. So they'll help you in identifying those. So this is road markings, and in pavement marking also you have a lot of variety. Now again, I don't know if many of you know this, but there is a difference between a yellow color marking and a white color marking as well. And there is also different if I am having a dotted line or I am having a continuous line or a double continuous line. Okay. Or in this dotted line also, if the gap is more, so that also has some different meaning. So now I'll not go into detail of all this, because then again the IRC code for the marking itself, it is over 100 and 200 pages. So it will not be possible to tell everything. So you can just again go through yourself, do a self study, and get to know about the pavement markings. So in that it is included center lines, lane markings, okay, then overtaking zone markings or no passing. So this is a no passing when you have a double solid line. So that means you are not allowed to overtake on that road. So even if there is not a sign of overtaking prohibited, but from the marking also you can come to know that what is the way in which you have to drive on this road. So I am very sure that almost 99% of the people don't know the meaning for the road markings, that why it is a continuous line, why a double continuous, and sometimes it is also like this key, you have one side continuous and one side dotted or dashed line. So this also has a different meaning. Okay, so when you go through this IRC code, you will come to know that which markings you have to follow in what way, and then that will make life easy for you whenever you travel on the road the next time. I'm very sure about it. Okay. So just go through that IRC code. And the last traffic control device that you have is traffic islands. Now traffic islands, it is something that you have seen in your everyday life while traveling, but you just don't know the technical term for it, that this is called as a traffic island. Okay. So in that you have 4 categories. I'll go slide wise. So first you have divisional islands. Now divisional islands, from the name itself you will come to know that it divides something. Okay. And that's the exact purpose of that island. So on the left side, the photo number 1 or figure number 1, if you see, so it's a line drawing, and whatever these markings you see which are shaded, so these are the divisional islands. Now what they do is they divide the flow of the traffic in 2 directions. So might be this is for the up traffic and this is for the down traffic. So in between, whatever is the area they have developed, now it's not at the road level, it's a bit raised level. Okay. So that is nothing but divisional island. And if this divisional islands are continuous, then they are called as median, or what you all people know till now, what we call a divider. So that divider is nothing but median, and this photograph on the right side, you can see, so this is the median. Okay, so that median is a type of divisional island. Not always a median is continuous, or not always a divisional island is continuous. Sometimes it's discontinuous as well. Okay? But that is also under the category of divisional islands. Okay? And only when it is continuous, you call it a median. Then the next is channelizing island. Now these are some interesting features that you have on a road which help you control the flow of your traffic. Okay. So now what are these is, suppose I'll give you an example. So in this figure, the left one, it is a 4-leg intersection without any channelizing island. Okay. So this was what I was saying, that if you have a two-lane road, and if you mark all the directions, so you will get all this, you see, you can get all these conflict points over here. You can see this conflict point in this figure very much clearly. Now, as I told you, that as a traffic engineer, it is a challenge for you to reduce all these conflict points. Okay. So how will you reduce it? So one of the best methods for reducing a conflict point is a channelizing island. Now what they have shown in this figure, if you see this legend, so the single directional hatching is for minor conflict area, okay? And the double directional hatching is for major conflict area. That is the center portion of your intersection where almost all the movements, they cross each other. Okay. So now this type of intersection is always at a risk of going into a traffic accident. Even if there is a traffic signal, we know that in India how many people follow the traffic signal very efficiently. So even if there is a traffic signal, there is always chance of a accident at such location. So what is done is, this intersection is channelized, what you can see on the right side. So what they have done is, they have introduced a rotary in between, or what is called a circle. Then you can see these small islands. Okay. Now what these small islands will do, they will channelize your traffic flow, as in we have seen the diverging kind of traffic or the merging kind of traffic. So the diverging traffic, the ones who have to go straight, they will follow this path, but the ones who are supposed to take a left turn, so they will follow this part, and in between this, they will, or we will construct an island over here. So this island is sort of an obstruction. So if you see an obstruction, so obviously you will reduce your speed and then you will take your turn. Okay. So these channelizing islands are a very effective way of controlling the flow and also the speed of your vehicles at an intersection. Okay. So in this slide, I have shown you 3 photographs, and in each photograph you will see the channelizing island. So this is what I was talking about. Let's see the photograph number 2. So this is the rotary, and this what you see here, these are the channelizing island. Now if you see, it is channelizing the flow such that there will be no intersection between these two. Okay. Or even on the right side in photo number 3, if you see, so just see this is the channelizing island. Okay. So now what it is doing is, whatever is the flow which has to go straight, it will follow this side of channelizing island, and the turning ones, they will follow this path. Okay. And same is the case here. You can see a channelizing island here itself. And these are the medians. Now these are the divisional islands that I discussed a few slides back. Okay. So this is example of a channelizing island. Then you have pedestrian loading island. Now these are for the purpose that whenever a pedestrian is crossing a road, so suppose the width of the road is quite large, and then a pedestrian can't cross it in one stroke, or if you are at a student or you are at a young age, so maybe you can cross, but the pedestrians who have some walking condition, or they are having, or their age is more, so for them to walk for such a large distance in one stroke, and that too in some speed, that is always difficult. So what is done is, a sort of resting place is provided in the middle of the road, as in middle of the road, as in the median itself. Okay, so that is termed as a pedestrian loading island. So here you can see. So now this person is crossing the road, but if suppose there are vehicles which are passing here, so instead of standing over here, that person can stand at this location, and that will be pedestrian loading island. Okay. And the last is rotary island. So again, rotary, now I have showed you before also. So rotary is nothing but when you have a large circle kind of thing in between, and then you have channelizing islands at the same location. So that will be the rotary island. Okay. Now rotary island, the main purpose is, now whatever I had shown you at the starting, that you have crossing maneuver and you have a weaving maneuver. Okay. Weaving as in the two movements, they can go simultaneously. So that happens in a rotary. So now here if you see, so this is a right hand drive country, from where this photograph was taken. So now this vehicle, it is maybe it is going to go in this direction, and there is another vehicle which is coming from this direction. So now what will happen is they need not stop. One of the vehicles need not stop. So both the vehicles can go simultaneously, but whatever is this common portion, weaving portion, so the curve is adjusted. This radius is adjusted in such a way that both the vehicles will reduce their speed, and then one of the vehicle can easily pass and go to the desired direction without the another vehicle stopping. So the main theme behind rotary is that crossing maneuver, it is converted into a weaving one. So we are not stopping anyone, but we are only slowing them down purposefully. So that is the main thing about a rotary island. So this, what you see in the center, that is the rotary island, and this channelizing islands, they are sort of a helping kind of thing for this rotary to work properly. So this is with the traffic control devices.